The garden rescue team are on a mission.
Look at that!
To create beautiful green spaces in family homes.
What do you think?
I think that's super cool.
And make people's garden dreams come true.
Fab!
Charlie Dimmock,
Pushes the boundaries out.
the much-loved queen of the family garden.
What can go wrong?
The Rich Brothers,
Good luck, boyo.
creators of classy, trend-setting outdoor spaces.
It's such a nice pop of colour, isn't it?
And Arit Anderson,
That's brilliant!
an award-winning designer with a distinctive sense of style.
A lot of these plants are quite easy to maintain.
They're here to answer garden emergencies
There is a lot to be done.
based on the client's needs and budget.
So I think it's definitely challenging.
Two sets of designers create and pitch garden plans.
Wow.
But only one can win.
Jazza!
And the loser has to help them build it.
Oh, look at that!
This is what happens when two different styles collide
What's not to love?
to turn garden dreams into reality.
Oh, Charlie, I love you!
That's a bit better, isn't it?
Today, it's the Rich Brothers versus Charlie. Their task, to design a family garden incorporating original features from the owner's renovated home.
So here we have Stacey and Joe and their son, Aaron.
All right.
Yeah, very sweet family. And they're from Loughborough.
We came to uni here and graduated in 2010 and then had a good community around us and thought, why would we move anywhere else? And so have lots of friends who live 2 doors down this way, 2 doors down that way and opposite, which is why we wanted to live here, to raise Aaron and to be in that community.
And this is their garden.
Ooh, I like that.
Wow, it's a statement tree, that, isn't it?
Nice to have it in the middle of the garden right at the end.
Got nice brick walls around the outside, which is a lovely feature as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, they're beautiful, aren't
Yeah.
So we bought the house 2 years ago and moved in, and we've been renovating it ever since. Before we moved in, it was empty for 8 years, so it was quite a bad state.
It just means we haven't had any time on the garden. We're out here a lot, but it's just not a very pleasant space to be in, really.
It's a new family, so they would love a garden in which Aaron can grow up in, have
play.
plenty of space to play.
Because I see some of his play toys are already
Scattered
everywhere.
around. So plenty of space for him, but definitely a space for them as well, just to relax in.
It's a traditional Victorian house, so we wanted to keep some of the original features, the ceiling roses, you know, the big cornices and skirtings, but then we've also put a bit of a modern twist on that. So if we could see that represented in the garden as well, would be brilliant.
Hey! There's no particular theme, but they are doing it at the house, and they're doing it on a bit of shoestring. So actually, they like the idea about reusing and repurposing some of the spare materials.
Oh, I hope there's some spare tiles like that. That'd be
Yeah.
nice.
That would be wonderful, wouldn't it? Much nicer than the concrete.
Yeah.
We'd like an area that Aaron can play in that isn't kind of broken pavements and grass with strange soil edges. And then we'd also like somewhere for us to host people. So we have a lot of barbecues over the summer, most weeks, but at the minute it's a bit of a sorry place to host people.
You say they're on a shoestring. What's the shoestring?
£3,000.
Oh, it's not that bad a budget.
There's loads to work with this garden, so I think £3,000 can really stretch quite far.
Charlie and the Rich Brothers head to Loughborough in Leicestershire to take a closer look at Stacey and Joe's garden.
Oh, well, here we are. Oh, it's all a bit wobbly, this.
A little
Isn't
bit.
it?
It's a nice little entrance, isn't
It
it?
feels homely, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Obviously, lots of work ongoing.
Yeah. And the walls, as beautiful as they
Gorgeous.
looked on the photographs, aren't they?
Yeah.
And then some nice materials.
Yeah, that'll
Like
make the
them?
budget go further.
Yeah.
And then stepping up then onto this back lawn,
That is a kitchen sink,
It is
isn't
a
it?
kitchen sink. Barbecue.
slightly around the corner though, isn't it?
Oh my, look
That.
at that cherry tree. Wow.
Almost don't have to do anything, just leave the tree.
Yeah.
Imagine not having that. That would feel so open, wouldn't it? But now it feels lovely and private and really interesting.
Yeah. Oh, pretty blank, isn't it? I mean, there's no planting borders or anything like that. It's
No.
just a rickety old path.
Path right in the middle of the lawn.
Yeah.
And look at all those roots coming up from the cherry tree. You'd want to just sit under him.
Oh,
wouldn't you?
it's lovely. Look
At
at
the
that.
same time. Or lay under here looking at the branches.
I think it's an absolute dream space, isn't it? Underutilised at the moment, though.
Yeah.
So we're going to see if we can find anything in the house.
Yeah, I almost don't want to. I like out here so
Yeah,
much.
no, this is my area here.
What do you reckon we're going to find, Harry?
Another sink.
Oh, they're very clearly still in the middle of the work, aren't they?
Yeah, definitely over the worst.
I guess what's nice for us is that they've cleaned out some of the old materials, they've replaced it with some new ones, so we can actually use them in the garden.
Hello, Stacey,
Hello.
Joe.
Hello.
The tree,
Yeah.
isn't it amazing?
It's lovely.
Absolutely fantastic. Such a feature in the garden. And you've got amazing walls as well.
Yeah. I never really thought of those as a feature. It's just a wall, but
Oh.
hey, it's amazing. That's
Not
good.
much else, so the walls, we'll focus on the
Yeah.
walls. What we like is the original stuff in the house, the original features. The house has been a bit of a story, hasn't it? Because when we moved in, it was just completely empty and
Yeah.
kind of, we've stripped everything out, so it's been making this old house new again. And so we want some of those original features, but obviously there is a bit of a modern twist that we've been putting on that as well.
And is that what you'd like to duplicate in the garden?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
They've got some modern tiles on the wall, and this is a beautiful Victorian period house, but they're not afraid to have that contrast. But they've still got a little bit of a traditional aspect to the pattern, I feel.
They have, yeah. It's quite interesting, that, isn't it? Taking it from old into the new, so the design definitely has to reflect that.
Yeah.
See the pile of tiles?
Yes, we dug those up from the dining room.
That was
when
the
we dug
floor
that
of the
floor
dining
up.
room. It was uneven. It was bad underneath. I had to dig them up, unfortunately.
So you want to keep some of the original
Yeah.
things in
Yeah,
the
we
garden?
were thinking they could be used somewhere around here. It would be quite nice.
Quite a similar thing in here as well. This is obviously the family area, it's the dining table, so they spend a lot of time. And we've got Aaron's arts and crafts right there as well.
It looks fantastic. He's very creative.
Very creative. Love the handprints, but I like the tree the most.
Yeah, he loves nature. Must be the cherry tree.
Yeah, it could be. I think that's fantastic, though. They've not shied it away and put it in his room. It's in the communal space, isn't it? And I think that's a really lovely element. So if we think about it in the garden, we don't have to give him his specific area. It can be where their activity is.
Yeah.
So you obviously use the garden a lot. You've got
Yeah.
the barbecue, you've got lots of
Yes,
toys.
Yeah.
Lots of toys. Yeah, and the football as well. Aaron loves it.
Yeah.
Most days he'll come out here and score a few goals.
So we've got to keep space for Aaron to play
Yes.
football.
Yeah. Aaron enjoys being out here, and he likes digging, and he will get involved, so
You
that's...
probably want to encourage that.
Yeah,
do you?
exactly,
Yeah, for sure.
So if there's stuff he can actually dig and not just things that we don't want him touching, that would be helpful.
And then in the summer we have, lots of people around whenever we can and
When you say lots,
barbecue.
Yeah, so we're part of a church. We've got we lead an 18 to 30s church. So we've got lots of young people our age. So every week of the summer, we're kind of having different barbecues at people's houses. So we'd like to host one here and it not look like this.
okay.
Having shared their information and inspired by the visit, our rival designers are keen to get cracking. They get straight to work crafting a family garden to include original features from Stacey and Joe's renovated home. Each fashion a plan that meets the £3,000 budget, and the couple then choose their favourite. Whichever designer loses helps the winner build the garden, and labour is supplied for free by the Rich brothers, Charlie and their team of landscapers. Back in Loughborough, our designers are ready to pitch their ideas.
Hello.
Hi.
Right, okay. So, this is a design. So you guys are doing a great job inside the house.
Thank
We'd
you.
love to be able to mimic it
Good
out
start.
here. Yeah, just buttering you up.
Yeah, keep going.
And we know that obviously this needs to be a family garden. It needs to work for you two. It needs to have plenty of space for Aaron as well. But also, when you've got gatherings, it needs to be able to cater for people really easily. So what we've done is we move the dining table and seats into the garden. We thought this would be wonderful. Brings you into the space, close to the tree, plants surrounding you.
So your new dining area here, the idea is actually to reuse the tiles you already have and put them into this area that myself and Dave are actually standing in. So it'll be a lovely connection with the house, and it'll create a lovely finish.
The Rich brothers have shifted the key entertaining area to the centre of the garden. What's Charlie planned for this social space?
Okay, here we go.
Wow.
So I basically replaced the paving and extended it to make it a bigger barbecuing area. And it's still big enough to get your table and chairs on it. The barbecue can sit there. And I've got lots of built-in seating around so that you can have that there as well as your table. So you've got lots of entertainment space. Thinking about your modern Victorian, I wanted to use a much more modern paving, a light colour there. But this area here is reusing your Victorian tiles, so actually making a feature of them in the centre, so it doesn't just look like one huge area of paving.
Both Charlie and the Rich brothers are on the same wavelength when it comes to the old Victorian tiles. But it seems Charlie's taking things a step further.
But I also wanted to reuse all your containers that you got, your butler sink, outside the kitchen window. We've got a window box with lots of plants in, so that it makes this area a lot more colourful and a bit eclectic with lots of different things.
Space for son Aaron to play is an essential for Stacey and Joe. So what have our designers got planned for that?
So it becomes a really nice like a play area for Aaron and all his toys, but also it can double up as a little
Mud kitchen,
whatever you want. And we can reuse that sink there, unless we just get it out and that's all it is. You know what I mean? There's nothing else underneath
What
there.
be like under there?
We've retained some lawn, but it's quite key within the garden to have that bit of space as well. It's soft underfoot, it's a nice area to play. And also, if you're sitting here, you can keep an eye on him here.
So these are raised beds. We've got a mud kitchen here for Aaron. And underneath this raised bed, I've got a tunnel leading out into this flower bed to get into Aaron's play space of lawn. Relay the lawn, nice big area so he can play football, cricket, big enough to run around in, put a tent up, have a picnic, that type of thing.
Yeah.
Both designers need to deal with the back of the garden and the existing cherry tree. What are their plans?
We've retained the cherry tree, obviously. We've put in gravel path, the seating area at the back.
Wow.
So the idea was to use a gravel seating area at the back, and that's because this cherry tree has some very large roots. So instead of building it up and putting slabbing over the top, we've left it gravel so it's more fluid.
And then what we wanted to do here is actually just put some lovely meadow. So we'll either lay some meadow turf down, and then what that means is you get this beautiful seasonal progression of native plants. So it grows up, looks gorgeous, great for wildlife and things like that.
Then you've got what I would call your evening chill-out area at the bottom of the garden with lighting running up into the tree, so festoon lighting. So that will highlight the trunk. So when you look down from your lounge window, you will see that. And it will almost be like an entranceway of lighting in. This area is a bound gravel with slabs on it. And then make this slightly enclosed with box hedging along here.
Charlie and the Rich brothers have a similar idea for the far end of the garden. But how will they differ when it comes to planting?
At the moment, you look straight up onto these walls, which look beautiful, but it's nice to be surrounded by plants themselves because it'll feel a lot more romantic, it'll have a lot more colour, and it'll just be a really inviting space.
We've put in some lovely planting beds, some evergreen topiary here, so that's going to give you lots of interest throughout the seasons.
Yeah.
So they're evergreen, so you'll always have that little bit of structure in the garden that helps to divide the space. We're also going to bring in a couple of small apple trees so that you have a bit of produce, because it's always nice to be able to go pick your own apples. We can get Aaron to come and pick them.
I was thinking that this area around here would be much more for your herbs and your vegetables, and then a lovely feature, multi-stem feature tree, just a small one, replacing your ash tree. And then around the seating areas, I want to use some scented plants, things like jasmine and that, so you get that evening scent.
Yeah.
But I don't want to overfill the garden,
Yeah.
because you lose the space then.
Yeah.
It's really cool. Oh, that's lovely, thank you.
Thank you.
Overall, it's going to be a gorgeous family space and somewhere you can be proud of when you invite your friends and family over for a nice barbecue.
That'll be good. Thank you.
With the pitches over, it's a tricky decision for Stacey and Joe. But only one family garden can win.
OK, so two brilliant designs. Shall we start with the Rich Brothers one?
Yeah.
It's amazing, isn't it? I love even just the drawing of it. And the tiles, that's really good. It looks like they've used a good surface area, a good amount of them.
Yeah. And Charlie's just similar, though. It feels like if they're simple tiles, that accentuates that even more, doesn't it?
My only concern with this one is that how much tiling is being used there.
How many, Charlie? How many?
Enough for what I want them for. Did you do the whole patio of them then?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I've just got like a bit in the paving.
Ah, a little bit of
Patchwork.
detail.
Patchwork, yes, to
Nice.
break it up.
So what did you do with this?
I repaved all this.
Did you?
I did.
Whoa.
And then slightly extended it just round the corner, so I've got veg beds.
Slightly extended down to the back of the garden.
I really like these raised planting bed areas that Charlie's done with the tunnel underneath as well. That's just such a nice little touch, isn't it? And a mud kitchen too. I love that. Under the window, the planting thing under the window, that's cool.
We've got a little seating area at the back.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we move this dining table into the middle of the garden.
Yeah, so that's where they're going, into the garden. And then this space is big and utilitarian and fun for Aaron, but also great for big gatherings as well.
This creates a big space for seating, though, doesn't it? Which, at the minute, we haven't got.
Yeah, it's true.
And it just feels like they've managed to get a lot of kind of structure with the trees and stuff in there.
Lighting?
No. Just lighting.
Oh.
Festoon lighting coming down from the tree.
Yeah, and the festoon lighting at the end as well, making the cherry tree, like, really drawing your attention to it is a great idea.
Yeah.
Man, this is difficult.
Yeah.
Time to find out which family garden Stacey and Joe will go for.
Hello.
Hello. Well, it was a really tough decision. We're really grateful for both of you for the work you put into this and the design. We've made our decision, and we're going to go for, let's hope we can get this right, Charlie!
Hey. Charlie.
Done.
Cool, what was it that made you go my way rather than the boys?
I think having the new slabs down here, but also using our tiles as a bit of a feature in the middle, we really liked that. The integrated seating was just a smart way of trying to get more people into the garden and not feel crammed. But also then the little bits for Aaron, so like the little tunnel here and then this little bit here for him to kind of have a space to explore. And then the lighting on the cherry trees, just we'd never even think of that.
You could say the cherry on top, couldn't you?
I was just about to do that, you stole my life.
It's the beginning of the build in Loughborough, and the landscapers Chris, Ben and Colin, plus project manager Andy, have arrived on site.
Charlie's done a lovely design to kind of bring the garden more in keeping with the house. Nice Victorian elements, but bringing it up to date a little bit as well. So the big hit for us here is this patio down there. We're taking up all of those old slabs and putting in something nicer, newer. There's some spaces for planting, some raised beds, that sort of stuff, out of timber. This bit up here is Aaron's space, really. Yeah. We're taking out this path, putting down some new grass, and then at the back is just a nice little quiet, contemplative reading space. I reckon all hands on deck, getting those old slabs out, getting rid of them. Let's get cracking.
Let's do this.
Chris is pulling up the front patio solo. It's a big area, but he isn't far from the skip. Whilst Ben and Colin are sharing slab removal duties in the rest of the garden.
Ooh, red ants. We got this paving here, that's the old path. We got the different paving at the back. That stuff we're just going to throw away. This stuff we're going to keep.
One item likely to get a new lease of life is the old butler sink that's serving as a step. But that's not the only treasure the ground's giving up.
Victorian tennis ball.
Oh, lovely, yeah. Here, Ben.
Oh, breaking the neighbour's window already.
Now the paving's gone, it's time to take the turf up. But there's a slight hitch.
This cherry's roots go everywhere, and cherry roots tend quite often to rise up to the surface, so they'll come up through lawn. So where it's closer to the tree, they're really big, fat roots coming right to the surface. And we've got a load of roots down here as well. That's quite drastic at the moment. Colin's uncovering them all. It's not too much of a problem. When we dig out for the new patio, we're going to put that earth back on, cover them up again, lay a new lawn over the top. Won't harm the tree at all.
It's all systems go for the groundworks and the side return. Putting down the hardcore, marking out the raised beds, and getting the ground ready for the new patio.
There's this pipe in the back of the garden. It's really interesting, this pipe. It leads to a subterranean bedroom. I think Cole's been staying. Cole, ready for work?
Oh, gosh, that's the time already.
Come on, we've been doing it for hours.
Where's my broom?
But there's no time for joking. There's digging to be done before the modern grey sandstone patio slabs can go down. And they weren't too pricey either,
Looking good, boys.
at £375 for the entire area. But despite being great value, they're only playing a support role to the real stars of this patio.
These quarry tiles that come out of the living room in the house, they're beautiful. So Charlie wanted to use them in the garden, so we've done a little square here. Yeah, it's nice, isn't it? So we're just setting them out to see how many we need.
It's going to look amazing.
is going to look amazing.
The gang's next task is levelling out the area for the new lawn, covering the exposed tree roots with the soil dug out from the back of the garden.
For once, soil's really nice here.
With the mixed new and vintage patio going down, the build is on track. Great news, as Charlie and the Rich brothers are on their way.
Oh, this is rather tight and cosy, isn't it?
It is, and this is going to be a bit of an issue. Yeah. Doing the garden, getting up and down the ginnel.
That's a one-way system, that, isn't it?
We're going to have stop and go signs at the end of the tunnel. But I don't know about you, when we came and did the pitch, I thought the garden was really, like, homely and cosy. And
I think it's those brick walls, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or maybe that large tree at the back.
The cherry tree is gorgeous, isn't it? So we're not really massively changing the garden, but we're going to sort of zhuzh it up, make it more practical for them. There's a little bit of everything going in, including the kitchen sink.
Oh, we've got that in.
I'll be on the kitchen sink. It's not going to be a step anymore, I'm telling you now.
Probably better off like that.
And then I think you guys are going to have to be boys with toys.
Oh, that sounds great.
So I want to create a space for Aaron to play in without it looking too much like a play area.
Cool.
The raised veg bed.
Yeah, us as well.
Tunnel underneath it.
Yeah. Ooh.
Okay.
What are you going to be up to today?
Well, you know that lovely cherry tree?
Yeah.
I've got to decide exactly where the lights are going to be going
come
on.
on.
Oh, I'm going, oh, boys.
Arduous task.
Let me go through. Da-da-da, through the ginnel and into the garden. They've done
changed
well,
up,
haven't they?
isn't it?
Yeah.
Should we go to our area?
Your area's up around the back, boys.
Under the tree?
Now, this space, on a traditional sort of Victorian house, this space is always a bit of a wasted space. When you come to gardening, it's not quite big enough to do anything with, and it just ends up normally as a sort of alleyway with your bins in it. So I wanted to make it much more attractive. So we're going to have pots here and containers. Although they wanted modern, they wanted to also keep some of the history in the garden. And Ben is busy just finishing touch. These are lovely tiles, aren't they?
Absolutely. They went down lovely and no cement, no nothing on them.
Fantastic. So the patio originally stopped just at the end of these lovely outhouses. So we've extended it fractionally. This bit of seating and planting here. This is the play area. But it looks like the boys are already playing.
Oh, the power.
We have got to finish the garden.
You seen Dave? I don't know where he is.
Yes. So,
we're already getting into channeling our inner youngsters.
Your inner child. I didn't think you ever got rid of your inner child, you two, did you?
He's in there. Come on then, boy. Come on then. Come on then. Come on then. Good boy. Someone had to take him for the team.
Freedom! I don't know.
You're living in a pipe dream there, mate.
Oh. Now, I know you want to go up and down the garden all day in this tube, but no. That is going to go under the raised bed that is going here, which is going to be full of fruit, maybe some flowers, vegetables, but it's Aaron's fun access onto the lawn rather than going up the step, boring, when you can go through a tunnel. Anyhow, moving along, Joe and Stacey were really keen to keep this lawn as big as possible. Not only does Aaron play football a lot, so we're not going to have any planting either side because we've got these gorgeous walls so he can kick the ball against it. They entertain a lot. They have friends and colleagues from the church around a lot, so they want this lawn area to be a very versatile, usable space. But my favourite area of the garden is going to be up here, underneath this gorgeous cherry tree. And we're putting the patio this side of the cherry tree. And this could be a really gorgeous place to come and sit, you know, away from the house, relax, watch Aaron playing, sit down here and just chill.
Charlie's structured garden design splits the space into three. A stunning stone patio with container planting, a middle section laid to lawn, and a rear woodland area under the cherry tree. But it's the central lawn that Charlie's got the team working on first.
Turf's going down, which is fantastic. We've got Colin and Chris and Ben laying it, and it is instant. It's like, whoa, what a difference it makes.
And in line with Joe and Stacey's limited budget, the lawn was a snip at only £140.
Ideally, if you're laying turf, you want to do it in the spring or the autumn, not midsummer during a heat wave. And the turf goes down, the roots will go into that loose, friable soil. Maintenance-wise, you want to be putting a sprinkler on it if it's summertime to get it rooted down for the first sort of 2 weeks. And ideally, you wouldn't be walking on it.
Sadly, that can't be helped, as time's waiting for no one on this job. So for Harry and David, it's straight on with the big build task of the day, the unique raised bed with tunnel underneath. At the moment, it's one big wooden jigsaw puzzle.
I'm just intrigued with this construction.
So are we.
I really don't understand what you're doing. I mean...
Dave's got a cutting list. Basically, we're cutting these guys at the moment. The 325s. How many? 16 of them. The system is flawless.
That's 2 sleepers plus a little bit.
What do you see there? 375, correct. How many of them? 8. Wait, what's that you spot as well? The 525. How many do you think of them? Don't need to think. Yeah. It's written down. 8.
Do you know what we've done? We've done KISS.
What?
Keep it simple, stupid.
And it's not just simple, it's pretty affordable too. The materials totaled £160. But Charlie spied something even cheaper, a freebie.
Thinking of Aaron, so down here, I'm thinking that you see that tyre?
Yeah. Yeah.
We could use that, couldn't we? I mean, you know, it's a bit past, you can't be putting it on your car, but it'd be all right for swinging on. So hang that off the tree somewhere, and if we bark underneath it, so it's nice and safe.
That's a no-cost garden feature, bonus. So now it's time for Charlie to focus on her big job for the day, working out where the hanging lights will go.
These lights, Joe put the power in down here, so what do we think?
What about something like up here, down there,
Yeah.
up, along
the wall,
up, down.
OK, that makes sense to me.
Happy days.
And with that decision made, Charlie's taking a pause for thought.
What's going on here, then?
You need to do some work.
Oh,
Having a rest. Take
It's gorgeous. I mean, that's lovely down there, but this is lovely here.
This is the best, isn't it?
At the tree.
Yeah, this is your kind of spot, isn't it?
It is. Just...
It's a lot of work to be done here, though, I'm sure.
Look at this prep work that has to go in.
Yeah, I just got to think where things are going. How is that tunnel gate going?
You know, it's quite, like, nice job, really, because it's just cutting a lot of wood.
As long as we've got the right measurements, there'll be no problems, will there?
No.
The clock is ticking. Whilst Ben and Colin build a big planter, Charlie's getting the greenery in.
First of the plants, but because the space is quite a tiny space that we're actually planting, we've got to be very selective about the plants that we're putting in. So this is a gorgeous myrtle. It's got a nice scent to it. It's evergreen, so it's going to have some structure there all year round. But one thing I do need to do is give them a good water now. Quite often when you go to the garden centre, you go and buy your plants, you get them home, and you put them straight in the ground, and then it rains that night, and you think, oh, that'll do. But in actual fact, the root ball can be very, very dry. So it's always a good idea to give them a good water before you plant them. Ideally, even stand them in a bucket of water for about half an hour so the root ball is totally sodden, then plant it. That way your plants will establish much more quickly. This is like proper gardening, not all that landscaping stuff. Oh, I'm horrible, aren't I?
As Charlie finesses the planting, Harry and David are hard at work still on the raised bed cum play tunnel.
Nice, right, I'll get the pipe. Harry, how did you make this move earlier?
Superpower.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's exactly it.
Choo-choo-choo-choo-choo! Oh, it's all making sense there, isn't it, really?
It's all coming together. We've done quite a lot of cutting, but we finally got to the point where we've got our structure made out of sleepers, which is nice and sturdy. And this is going to create the raised planters. But this adds another thing to it. We've got this lovely tunnel.
Oh, what a tunnel it is. Fantastic. So this is actually a bit of water pipe that's used in the construction industry. It's pretty tough. It's very durable. And what's nice, it's got a nice smooth inside as well, so it's going to make a lovely little tunnel to crawl through.
Serious stuff is happening too. with Colin and Ben building bench seating so Aaron's mum and dad can enjoy the results of Charlie's creation and its edible delights.
I promised Stacey and Joe some fruit trees, but because this is such a tiny garden, I've gone for these wall-trained fruit trees. So this is an apple, Cox's orange it is, and it's been trained what is called a W shaped. So the fruit trees don't take up an awful lot of space, and the wall actually warms up, and that will make the tree fruit much more happily and readily. So it's a sort of win-win situation.
It looks stunning. It's going to be beautiful.
It will do. And this wall, you know, so it'll be a good bit of produce.
These walls, you can position anything next to it. It just makes them look old and English. It's lovely.
How are you going? Oh, I see you've evicted your brother up to the end of the garden.
Yeah, I've come to get a fork.
That's good.
Can I steal that?
You can steal that fork, I'll
Very
let
kind.
you.
That's sturdy, isn't it?
It is very sturdy.
As well as apple trees, Charlie's chosen this dramatic maple, worth every penny of its £175 price tag.
Charlie's positioned this Acer palmatum, also known as the coral bark maple, between the wall and the house, providing a sheltered position. It gets a nice bit of sun, so it's perfect because Acers can be quite temperamental and a little bit fussy. And I think Acers really give you this lovely foliage. It's lovely and green, it's very dappled, and it's going to arch over and almost create a framework to walk underneath into the garden. And I don't think you can really get a more beautiful tree.
The gang are hard at work, with Ben and Chris cutting the tunnel to size, and Colin getting a window box built for Charlie outside the kitchen, whilst the brothers are in the back chill-out area, laying the recycled pavers that will be surrounded by bark and cracking on with the planting.
One there, two there, done.
Here, the stunning cherry tree dominates, so Charlie's chosen woodland planting that will work in harmony with it.
If you have a shady spot in your garden, quite often people will be quite daunted with it and think that it's quite an impossible task to plant up. But it isn't, and the key is to look to nature to find your inspiration. This Disampsia cespitosa likes a dappled shade, somewhere that has a bit of moisture, and sitting here is just perfect, because as you can see, the light's just hitting it, but it's under the canopy of the tree.
One plant that Charlie's putting in is this thornless blackberry. And I think it's gonna be a lovely thing for Aaron to wander down and actually pick his blackberries without any worry of getting pricked by the thorns. And just in this little sunny corner, it's gonna do really well.
And then if you're looking for bomb-proof, then Japanese spurge is ideal. It'll create a carpet effect that, in this case, will help to soften all the paving stones, just linking this whole space and creating this green floor. So keep your palette simple and you can have a lot of fun.
Looking good, boys.
Yeah, nice.
It looks lovely, doesn't it?
It shows it can be really simple, can't it? But very effective.
Bit of planting, not too much. Bark. Look, is that a passion flower?
Yeah.
I'm surprised that's surviving there, to be honest. So it must be a bit sunnier than we think.
But then this back fringe here, where the plants are, it's beautifully filtered. So.
Yeah. Little table, 2 chairs.
Yeah. Oh, what a spot.
Ideal.
Charlie spent just over £1,000, around a third of the budget, on planting for this garden, to create a feeling of being close to nature. Picking your plants is one thing, but putting them in the right pot is another. And to complement the large square of Victorian tiles in the patio, Charlie has the perfect thing, that old butler sink.
The container you're using actually really influences the plants that you're going to be putting in. Because this is quite shallow, it's not going to be ideal for bigger plants, say lavender or something like that. They'll just dry out. So I'm actually going to plant it up with alpines because they're really quite happy in a small amount of soil and also sort of quite free draining. Make sure your containers have got drain holes in them. This one's got a really big drain hole where the drain was. So what I'm going to do is put just a couple of rocks there so that the hole doesn't get blocked up, and then put some gravel around it and then fill it up with soil.
Whilst Charlie's enjoying herself, the boys are busy getting the posts in to hold the festoon lighting that will surround the cherry tree at the back of the garden. But Charlie can still keep an eye on them whilst she plants up her butler sink with alpines and succulents.
So we've got some little dianthus. And then we've got an iris, and that makes like a funny little evergreen round blob with white flowers on it. It's known as candy tuft. And then my favourites, sempervivums, nice succulenty plants. And then I've got some sedums, and these will sort of go up and over the side of the trough. And this is a little variegated arabis. I mean, alpines don't cost very much. They're about £1.50 to £2 each at this size. But they're very versatile. And as long as they're not sat in loads of water, they'll put up with a lot. And if you want to propagate alpines, it's ever so easy. With the dianthus, if you just take these funny little side shoots, like so, take the leaves off, and then just push it in the soil. And that will root. I mean, how easy is that?
Meanwhile, the brothers are focusing on finishing the raised bed tunnel that'll lead onto the lawn.
Ooh. Nice, there we are. The tunnel fits, it's in. Structure's pretty much almost there. We've got the 2 planters on the outside. That's looking great, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. By the time there's plants over the top and a lovely bit of facing around the outside, you won't even see that it's a plastic tunnel.
You won't, will you? No.
I think it's a lovely way for Aaron just to get into 2 different spaces, you know, instead of having steps or just, you know, a nice little opening. Instead, there's a nice tunnel, and that's perfect.
Right, a bit more to do.
Yeah, and then we can have a sit down.
There certainly are a few more jobs, like building this rustic mud kitchen for Aaron, which Colin's crafting from a leftover pallet, a tin bowl and some fun utensils.
We've got to get those lights up. Right, so you get up in the tree, you.
OK.
You be careful, though.
Yeah.
How high, Charlie?
How high? Right. We've
Does that feel quite high, does it?
Yeah.
You see, yeah, you
I'm
see
scared
that?
of heights.
Stay
Charlie's
there,
making me
stay
do
there. You see that?
Right around there.
We're going to go up and over there, but...
I got longer arms than you.
Swag it, swag it.
Like that, yeah?
Yeah, no, and then go that way, round the big branch.
Yes!
We got there in the end.
Yeah. Where are you going now?
Stuck.
Get the fire brigade. Harry's stuck. It's amazing we ever get a garden done, really.
With the bark down in the social space at the back of the garden, there's just a few final plants to go in. And with last-minute tidy-ups and titivations, the garden is complete.
Looking really cool, isn't it? Your eye is caught by all these beautiful plants.
Yeah, I went for a bit of sensory, sort of glamorous meadow.
It really is.
Just look at that.
I love that area. It's sort of...
It's magical, isn't it?
It is. It's almost lost wilderness sort of garden type of thing.
It's definitely got that kind of outdoor adventure camp vibes,
yeah,
isn't it?
You know.
I love the lights. They're great fun putting those up.
Yeah.
It'd be so much fun for Aaron growing up, but it's going to be great for entertaining and socialising as well.
Well, let's hope they like it, shall we?
Yes, no doubt.
Get them to come and see it.
Yeah.
Before the team arrived, this garden was a tired mix of cracked paving and patchy grass. After a £3,000 transformation, it's been reborn as a space to suit a young family who love entertaining. There's a stylish stone patio that's bang on trend with a patchwork insert of reclaimed Victorian quarry tiles. A bespoke raised bed with integrated tunnel is perfect for Aaron's playtime. Plus, he's got a great big lawn to kick a ball around on. And to the rear, Charlie's created a shady sanctuary complete with festoon lighting. It's time to reveal the new garden to Stacey and Joe.
So if you'd like to open your eyes.
Oh, wow.
Whoa.
That's awesome. Oh, wow.
My face is genuinely shocked.
These are your apple trees.
Wow.
So we've got 2 eaters there. And because they're trained like this, it's one easy for you to carry on training, but they don't take up too much space.
Yeah.
And in the spring, that'll just be full of blossom.
Wow.
Do you want to wander
Actual
on up?
plants, this is amazing. Oh, I love it.
And what was your step?
I can't believe that.
So that's full of
Oh,
alpines.
that's beautiful. That is such a good use of it.
So good.
I always wondered what the top of it looked like.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. The tiles look so good against the
Tiles look
old
better
tiles
with
with the other tiles.
Yeah, and it stops it being a whole sea of grey.
Yeah.
The tiles, really good idea keeping them. You never know when you can use something like that. And I think just outside there, especially with the step, it's a really nice way of just creating a little bit of a feature within the paving.
And a gorgeous nod to the history as well.
So this is the entertainment area. This maple
I love that.
is lovely because it will grow up and arch over. It won't be much taller than the top of your lean-to bit there, but it will frame the view of the tree.
That is such a good use of space.
Yeah.
Ah, 2 benches, really.
2 benches, yeah. So this is the veg area. You've got lots of mint, rosemary, strawberries,
wow.
and loganberry. So just train that up on the wall. So that'll be great for Aaron just to pick and play.
Wow.
I mean, the mints are gorgeous there, and it's really handy for the barbecue.
Oh, wow. That tunnel is amazing.
Well, there we are. They just spotted our little kind of raised planter there with the tunnel. I think Aaron's going to love that tunnel so much.
And this is more of like a sensory area. I mean, I know Aaron's going to crawl through there, and these are here for him to pick.
Ah, so lovely. I love the colours of it as well, because we didn't have any colour at all. It was so plain, wasn't it? But it's just brought it to life.
We have put in the hedge here, because I know you were keen for Aaron to have a lot of football space.
Yeah.
Do you think the lawn is big enough?
Yeah, that is a brilliant size.
Having that much lawn, it's exactly what they need as a family, and for those gatherings, it's going to be really important. So I do love the way it stretches from wall to wall, really accentuating the brick walls.
Yeah.
This area we absolutely love.
Yeah, it's got so much character.
The mud kitchen moved, and we've put down lots of bark.
Whoa,
Wow.
the lights.
Look at that.
The lights are lovely.
Such a fun activity for us 3, really, wasn't it?
It was, I think, great fun putting it up. They're going to have great fun just enjoying them. And it just means it can extend that period of use into the evening and then throughout the night.
This area to us seems quite sort of rustic, campfire type, singing songs.
So much character to it, and that tyre was there when we moved in. I can't believe it.
Yeah,
we didn't know what to do with
with the
it.
intention of doing something with it, but never doing anything with it.
Great job with the roots as well.
Yes, well, we raised the soil up.
Yeah, oh, it's brilliant, because they were quite big, weren't they?
So the plants we've put in will just like creep around, and they will put up with the dryness because of the tree.
Yeah. Do you know, we used to avoid this area so much because it was just grim, wasn't it? There was nothing we could do with it. But this is, I can see us spending a lot of time up here.
But it's also practical for what the area is in terms of the tree, and it dropping stuff, it doesn't matter, it just...
No, it'll just compost down.
Cool.
This is the chill area, I think.
Feeling it.
Yeah!
It just looks really natural with the bark, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Do you think this is going to be a garden that you will use as a family?
Definitely.
100%.
So do you think it's time that we get Aaron out to see?
Oh, yeah.
The couple's family and friends have come to check out their transformed garden.
Look at your tunnel, Aaron. The way that Charlie's used all the old materials and then brought some new things in, and it's just hit that nail of the old and the new being merged together.
Yeah, everything we asked for has been absolutely delivered. Charlie's done an amazing job. We're so pleased with it.
They almost...